Hi, and welcome to my new studio. I know a lot of you guys have been wondering where I've been for the past few months and why I haven't released any videos. In all honesty, a lot has happened. I moved to a new city again, I got married, I started a new day job, and I just had to set the new place up, all of which took away my time for making these videos. Also, I'd be lying if I said that was the only reason. I just started to notice that I was getting burnt out, and I took a much needed break. That being said, I'm back, I'm feeling refreshed, and I have a whole new space to work in. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to celebrate a new set of videos, take you guys behind the scenes to show you the new place, and also share with you guys the gear that I use to make these videos happen. I love watching studio tours like this myself, so I hope you guys enjoy it as well. When it comes to making YouTube videos, every video starts and ends at my desk. And this was one of the main reasons for my burnout. While I spend maybe 20% of my time actually filming these videos, planning, scripting, and editing take up the other 80%. And they all happen here. Over time, I started to dread having to start a new video because I could feel how sitting for hours and hours a day was taking a toll on my mental and physical health. That's why the first upgrade I made to my setup, and the one I've been looking forward to the most, was this desk itself. This is the FlexiSpot E7 Pro Plus standing desk with a bamboo top. Now, this desk was sent to me for free by FlexiSpot to use in this video, which I'm really grateful for because I've been waiting for years for the right opportunity to get myself a standing desk. I'm also not kidding when I say that finally having the option to stand while I work has boosted my mental health so much in the past month. And I've also found that being able to move around while I write really helps me think more clearly and be more productive. Now, I'm 6'1", and this desk can go up higher than I would ever need, and it's surprisingly sturdy at every height. The premium keypad on the front allows for 4 different presets, and it comes with a built-in USB charger and a child lock to avoid accidentally changing the height. On the desk, the first piece of gear and my main focal point is my computer, a 2021 Apple iMac. It's relatively powerful and can handle any sort of editing I would typically do, but I don't think I would actually recommend it to anyone else. I'm not sure why, but it has more UI and software bugs than any other computer I've ever owned. And if I was buying today, I'd probably opt for one of the newest MacBook Pros with the upgraded M1 chips instead. To plan and script all my videos, I use Notion, which is a really popular app amongst productivity nerds right now. It has a bit of a learning curve, but it's an incredibly versatile program that I use to organize pretty much every aspect of my life. I honestly can't recommend it enough. To type, I use a standard Apple wireless keyboard, along with a Magic Trackpad for its multi-finger gesture options when I edit. Besides that, I like to keep my desk area clean and minimal, with a few 3D printed accessories, a small plant, and my journal, which contains my schedules and to-do lists. I also have my speakers, which I'll get into later. When I do want to sit, I like to switch between this wooden chair and tilting stool, both of which are from IKEA. I think most people would actually find both of these chairs pretty uncomfortable, but for some reason I really love them. Altogether, this has become my favorite workspace that I've had to date. After I plan and script a video, the next step is to film it. And another thing I'm really excited about is that I finally have a dedicated filming space now where I can keep most of my gear set up and separated from the rest of my apartment. Previously, I've always just filmed in my bedroom, which made it really hard to separate my work from my home life. And I'm glad that I can finally just shut a door and end my workday whenever I want. This room is meant to be a set, a workshop, and a storage room all wrapped into one. It's a space where I can store all my drone gear, 3D print, and film these videos at any time of the day. When it comes to the actual gear I use for filming, the main camera I use is the Sony A7S III, and my primary lens is the Sony 20mm 1.8 G lens. This is usually paired with a Tiffin 1/8 Pro Mist filter, which softens up my shots a little, and the Peter McKinnon variable ND filters when it's too bright and I have to darken up my shot. The camera sits on a Manfrotto Be-Free Live tripod, which is nothing special, but it's mostly nice due to how portable it is. Also attached to the tripod is a FeelWorld Master MA5 monitor that I use to preview my shots. Even though my camera does a great job at holding focus, It's always nice just to be sure, and the little flip out screen can sometimes be too small or completely inaccessible, so the monitor is nice to have. Now, you might be surprised to hear that this 20mm lens that I'm using right now is the only lens that I currently own for the A7S III. Lenses are expensive, and I just haven't been able to justify buying another one. In the odd cases that I do need a closer shot, I'll usually revert back to my previous camera, the Sony A6500, which is the camera that I started this channel with. For that camera, my favorite B-roll lens is the Sigma 30mm 1.4. Because of the cropped sensor of the camera, this lens actually acts more like a 50mm and can capture some nice mid-range close-up shots. Next, to light my shots, the main light I use is the Smallrig RC120B. And I'm really surprised that I've never heard anyone else talking about it. It's definitely just as good as the popular aperture lights you'll see a lot of YouTubers using. My favorite part though is that the color temperature can be adjusted to match both indoor and outdoor light, which makes it extremely adaptable to any lighting scenario. To soften this light, I have a Smallrig softbox, which gives a nice directional diffused light that is perfect for lighting talking shots like this one. As a secondary light, I also have the Godox SL60W. This is a much more affordable light that only stays at one color temperature, but having two lights is extremely useful for things like brightening up the background, adding a rim light behind me, or as a fill light from the side, especially when I'm filming any top-down table shots. As a secondary option for diffusion, I also have a Godox lantern, which is similar to the softbox, but is a little bit smaller and spreads the diffused light in every direction. Both of these lights sit on newer Pro light stands, and I'll usually weigh them down using sandbags. To be honest, I've been too lazy to go out and fill my new sandbags ever since I moved in, and it'll probably end up with something falling and breaking before I'm motivated to do so. Definitely do as I say and not as I do. Always secure your filming equipment. Finally, to get sound for my videos, the main mic I use is the Rode Videomic Pro that I usually mount to a boom arm and keep just out of frame in most of my shots. When I'm filming top-down table shots, I'll remove the mic and use the same boom arm to mount my camera horizontally over my head. This way I can capture whatever is happening on my desk without tripods or anything else getting in the way. The table I use for all these shots is actually just a countertop from IKEA with desk legs mounted to it. This is another one of my favorite pieces of furniture, and it gives me so much room to work with. Finally, there are three other tools that are less necessary, but I still use pretty often. The first is a teleprompter. I don't use this for every video that I film, but I'm using it for this one, and I'll bring it out anytime I have a dense script that I don't want to mess up. The teleprompter app I use is Prompt Smart Pro. It pairs with my phone and listens to my voice to automatically move the text as I speak. The next tool is my gimbal, the DJI RS2. I use this to smooth out some of my B-roll shots that involve a lot of movement. I'm really bad at handheld camera movements, so this helps a lot. I also have my wall of FPV drones, which this whole channel is practically about. And if you're interested, I did film a dedicated video where I went over each one of them and why I need so many. So if you're interested in that, I'll link that down below. After I finish filming, the next step is post-production and editing. To edit my videos, I currently use Final Cut. I am and always have been a PC guy myself, but in the past year, I've become a diehard Final Cut fanboy, and it's become one of the only things that I truly love about the Mac ecosystem. Once you learn how the magnetic timeline is supposed to be used, editing feels so quick and intuitive on Final Cut that it's made me enjoy the process way more than ever before. It's also nice to still be able to pay once for your software and not a monthly subscription like for Adobe Premiere. It also crashes way less than Premiere does. Along with Final Cut, I use Compressor, which is Apple's pro exporting and compression software. This is actually my least favorite part about editing in Final Cut. I found that even with Compressor, when I upload Instagram videos or YouTube videos using the same export settings I used before, the final uploads seem to be lower quality than when I exported with Premiere. and I can't figure out why. If anyone has any tips on that, I'd love to hear them. Next, audio is also a really important part of the editing process. The speakers I use are iLoud micro monitors, which do a decent job when I'm trying to mix together my music and dialogue. Speaking of which, finding music that I like and isn't distracting is probably one of the toughest parts while I'm editing, but two services I like to use are Upbeat.io and Epidemic Sound. Upbeat has been my go-to for the past while since I love their selection of lo-fi and hip-hop instrumentals. They also have my favorite library of sound effects. The best part is you can make an account and use over half of their music for free forever, which is awesome. Epidemic Sound is a strictly paid service, but their music selection is a little bit broader and I like to have another backup option. So yeah, I'd say that's most the gear that I use to make these videos. And it's all stuff that I've accumulated throughout the years. I think it's important to mention that all this gear isn't necessary if you want to start your own YouTube channel. And when I started this channel a few years ago, I only had a fraction of what I have now. It's still possible to make quality videos with less, but the gear does help. I also want to say how grateful I am for how many of you guys enjoy watching these videos. And if you want us to give back to this channel in any way, all you have to do is give this video a like and subscribe if you'd like. If you decide that you want to give back more, there's now the option to leave a one-time donation by clicking the thanks button down below, or I'm also thinking of starting a Patreon. Not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but maybe some monthly giveaways and more access to me if you want to ask me any questions. That being said, it's totally up to you. I just appreciate that you guys are watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.